All right, let's do this. Let me take some coffee first. One of the biggest mistakes I made during the C++ version of the Untold Engine was creating my own asset format. Back then, I was obsessed with doing everything from scratch. So when I had the choice between using USD, FBX, or creating my own format, the decision felt obvious. I built my own, and it turned into a maintenance headache. So when I rewrote the engine in Swift, I made a few rules for myself. One of them was simple: use industry standard file formats. In fact, if you dig through some of my old blog posts, you'll find me talking about it. See, I was not going to repeat the same mistake again. So this time I chose USD as the format for my game engine. And for a long time, that decision worked very well. Then I started implementing streaming. As the engine began loading larger scenes, I noticed that every time a new asset needed to be streamed, the engine had to do the following: open the file, parse the file, navigate the scene graph, extract mesh data, create runtime resources, all before the asset could actually be rendered. The more I worked on streaming, the more obvious the problem became. USD is an excellent interchange format, but I wasn't looking for an interchange format anymore. I needed a runtime format. And trust me, I fought this realization. The last thing I wanted was to build another custom asset format. I knew what was coming: rendering bugs, animation bugs, broken assumptions throughout the engine, and several days of testing. I kept looking for ways around it, but eventually I had to accept reality. The engine was paying a runtime cost every time it loaded an asset. So what I really needed was a format optimized specifically for loading and rendering. A format where the expensive work had already been done ahead of time. No scene graph traversal, minimal parsing, data already organized for the engine. So I went ahead and implemented a native format called, you guessed it, Untold. The workflow is still very simple. A developer creates or imports a model in Blender, exports it using the Untold format, and the engine loads it directly. From the user's perspective, almost nothing changed. Under the hood, though, everything changed. And just like I expected, things broke. A lot of things. Parts of the rendering system stopped working. Parts of the animation system stopped working. I spent an entire weekend fixing bugs, rerunning tests, and comparing renders until everything behaved correctly again. But once the dust settled, the benefits were clear. Assets loaded faster, streaming became more predictable, the engine spent less time processing data and more time rendering. And the funny thing is that I ended up right back where I started. The younger version of me wanted a custom asset format for the wrong reasons. This time, I needed one for the right reasons. Not because it was cool, but because the engine had reached a point where a runtime optimized format genuinely solved a problem. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to check out my game engine, go to www.untoldengine.com. And again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.